Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Present.
Mr. Kubicki?
Present.
Ms. Hughes?
Present.
Okay, I think we should stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next, I make a motion that we approve of in the signing of the meeting minutes, the regular meeting minutes of September 8th, 2020. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we move into open forum or any questions that have been asked via email. Do we have anything?
I don't have anything.
Have anything to add,
No.
Melissa?
Melissa?
Okay.
Do not.
Always makes life a little easier. Okay, then we move on to reports. Any questions about the road superintendent's report with Mr. Cervisi? Okay. Lieutenant Enderle's not here, but we have a special guest. You want to introduce yourself first?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, board. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Captain Torrey Smith, and I am currently assigned as the Night Watch Commander for the Sheriff's Office Enforcement Division. Your liaison, Lieutenant Enderle, is obviously on vacation. I believe he is scheduled to return back to duty on Monday, October 26th. It's my understanding that your normal correspondence, your monthly reports and so on have been forwarded, but I did want to highlight a couple of things here. On Monday, September 28th, these are community-related events. On Monday, the 28th of September, we participated in a joint effort with the Little Miami Joint Fire District, and we assisted by celebrating a birthday of one of the Columbia Township residents, one of the younger residents, and basically participated in one of those birthday parades that are becoming so common. But apparently, according to all, it went very well and made the little fellow very happy. So, happy birthday goes out to William. And this was not on September's report, but just last week, our cruisers joined in a walkathon with Good Shepherd Church on Friday, October 9th. So we always like to, we want to reiterate, we always like to participate in those things. And if one of your residents or local business members or somebody like that would like us to swing by, we're more than happy to do that, especially as we kind of continue through these trying times and interesting times.
So what occasion will we have them to swing by when you say that, just so
Things like birthday celebrations. I know it was more common back in the spring with graduations, special events. When I was the Sims Township liaison, we had a gentleman, a Sims Township resident, that turned 95. You know, milestones, landmarks, things like that, whether it's faith-based organizations, walkathons, you know, fundraisers, things of that nature. We're always happy to lend a hand when and where we can and have some presence and just interact with the community. So, two of those on your report the past several weeks.
Well, Tori, real quick, we're going to challenge you because today is Caroline Heekin's birthday. So do you want to wish her a happy birthday?
Happy birthday, happy 27th.
Okay, there you
Thank
go.
you. Thank you.
Well
That was a test.
That was smooth.
You put me on the seat. It's all about the first spot, so I was just going to put it right back on.
You passed the audition.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
She still wants you to drive by her driveway, though.
Yes, yeah, I'll tell you what, right.
I gave my contact information to Mrs. Taylor, so if you folks need anything while Lieutenant Enderle's out of town, feel free to contact me, and it's good to put some names with some faces. And thanks for having me this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
Okay, with that, we move on to the Fiscal Officer's report with the birthday girl, Ms. Heekin.
Thank you. September marks the end of the third quarter, and the general fund balance is currently $2,676,034, which is a decrease of 2% from August. Restricted fund balance is $5,531,609, which is an increase of 17% from August. Combined, the funds total $8,207,643, which is an increase of 10% from August. For the month of September, revenues were $1,487,281 due to receiving the second half of the auditor's second half of the year of the auditor's settlement, and expenses were $741,671. Year-to-date revenues, $5,009,647. Expenses, $3,638,086. In September, we received our second biannual property tax settlement from the auditors for the second half of the year, and our next significant revenue receipt will occur in April of 2021 with the first half of the property tax settlement payment. Year-to-date expenses are at 72% of revenues, which tracks with September being the 9th month and 75% of the year being over. The voter-approved levy revenues do not fully cover the cost of the township's public services. And again, thanks to our Columbia Township's success in attracting and supporting businesses, we are able to use significant JEDS revenues to continue to provide residents with high quality and level of services. And the trustees and our professional staff are committed to conservative budgeting practices.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, now we move on to the administrator's report with Ms. Taylor.
Mr. Cervisi gave me a couple of comments for his road report, and I did not have them handy, so I wanted to read those now. His crews are extremely busy now. We have 2 road improvement projects underway, Moffett and Eversole and Hillendale. It's still brush season, it's still mowing season, and leaf pickup begins later this week. As Captain Smith mentioned, the Sheriff's Department participating in the Good Shepherd Montessori School Walk-a-thon. Our crews participated in the event as well, doing the road closures for safety in the morning and in the late afternoon. And the crews also completed a full seal coating on Bramble this month as well. So that's from John Cervisi. Also, I missed on listing on the agenda because it happens quarterly, so I have to watch that. Dustin Montgomery was going to be with us this evening, our economic development specialist. He is quarantining as a result of his child's exposure at school. He put together, and you have in front of you, the third quarter economic development report, and I just wanted to highlight from it that annually, any companies that receive tax incentives from any community in Ohio are reviewed by an independent panel to make sure that they're complying with the performance measures of their tax incentives. And this past quarter, the Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Council met and approved that the 2 active community reinvestment area agreements that we have, one with Beachmont Motors and one with Charter Commercial, which is Mariemont Promenade, not only are meeting their performance commitments for jobs creation and investment, but are far exceeding them. And to date, the 2 companies together have created or retained a total of 141 jobs and invested more than $10 million in Columbia Township. So I thought that was really important to announce. As far as my administrator's report, I'm going to try to make it brief because we have a long agenda, but I have a couple of things that I would like to share, and I know that we want to celebrate some great things that are happening. As I mentioned in John Cervisi's road report, October is a record-setting month for our services crew, and so I always open my report with a shout out to our awesome staff. And the crews hustled this month. In addition to all of the work that John mentioned in his report, the crews also are participating in helping us carry out a number of projects with our businesses under all of our grant funds for economic support during the pandemic. And I know we're going to talk about that in more detail later on the agenda, but I have a couple of pictures in your report that show some of our crews delivering some of the portable heaters and outdoor dining patio sets and such to our different restaurants as part of a grant. Our Ohio audit continues. It started in spring. It was paused due to staff shortages with the auditor's office. It has now restarted. We expect it to end in the next, be completed in the next month. And I want to do a shout out to Kim Gray, our office manager, who is assisting Fiscal Officer Caroline Heekin and me in the arduous audit that happens to be going very well so far. So we're pleased about that. So we have 2 3-year services contracts that are up at the end of this year. One is our waste collection contract. We just advertised bids this week. Those bids will run for 2 weeks. We will select a successful bidder, and then I will bring that before the trustees in November to authorize for 2021, 22, and 23 for our waste collection. And I'll talk more about the value of how we bid it directly instead of requiring our residents to have a contract directly with a waste collection agency. They get a great deal, and we get a terrific team assigned to us because of doing a direct contract as a community. Our sheriff's contract, so January 1, so when Lieutenant Enderly returns next week, we're starting discussions about the services that we need under the sheriff's contract. The fall voice is out. Residents should have it in their mailboxes, if not today, in the next day or two. And it's a terrific issue. And I just wanted to point out our front cover is an update on the Little Miami Joint Fire and Rescue District, as well as a welcome to our new trustee, Mr. Lamar. But I wanted to point out a couple of important dates on the back cover. One is Saturday the 24th, which is the DEA National Prescription Drug Take Back. So look for the specifics on that to get rid of unused prescription drugs so you can create a more safe household. And also the Saturday following the drug take back is Halloween, and we collected information from the Centers for Disease Control as well as the Ohio Department of Public Health and put tips in there for trick-or-treating this year on the back cover, and then make sure to check out everything in between as well. Another important date coming up in the next month is Tuesday, November the 3rd, which is Election Day. We put on our website a chart that came from the Board of Elections in Hamilton County Votes, that gives information on early voting, as well as voting by mail, as well as in-person voting on November 3rd. So we're trying to be helpful with that information as well. So we have an action-packed month coming up. And I believe that one of you will speak to this in trustee reports, but I just included the picture in my administrator's report. David Kubicki and Brian Lamar participated last week in great parts of Hamilton County hosting a ribbon cutting. So I'll leave that for one of you to go into more detail about. And on the subject of trails and paths, the Murray Path, we also are investing in with Mariemont and Columbia Township. And there are several fundraising events that are going to be coming up in the next month to try to help finalize funding so that the extension from Settle Road to Plainville Road, which is the gateway to our Plainville Business District and Madison Place neighborhood, the southern gateway, encourage people to come out for those here in the next few weeks. And if those are successful, the group leading the path expects that the construction will move forward in 2021. And to close my report, I always open with a thank you to staff, and I always close with a we love our businesses section. And this evening, what was really notable the last month is the concern over the impact of the prolonged pandemic on businesses. I had a meeting, as did other township administrators and municipal administrators, with the Office of Budget and Management. And what was interesting from that call, or that meeting, was that the pandemic has shifted us to a consumer economy, with sales accounting now for 42% of Ohio's economy. And to help our economy recover, check that the mask is one of the best economic tools that we have, and number two, to make sure we support our businesses. And so it's interesting that that was what the director of the Office of Budget Management for Ohio was speaking to, because in our section this evening, our agenda is nearly entirely related to grants and programs that we are doing to support our businesses, and we have one of our businesses here to talk about that as well. So a couple of quick facts about the seriousness of helping support businesses in our communities. In September, 13 million people were unemployed as the pandemic continued. There have been a series of articles in multiple publications about the impact of the pandemic specifically on restaurants and specifically on downtown. And the latest figure is for downtown Cincinnati, and the importance of the region is important to all of the communities in the region. Of the 70,000 employees that typically occupy downtown during each day, an estimated 60,000 are no longer there.
Wow.
That is a very sobering figure. There also were reports this past month from two smaller outlying communities, and I'm familiar with both of them through my prior role, that have had major impacts as a result of loss of income from business, losses, closures, or just a declining tax base. And both of them are currently working on major service cuts to their residents as a result of those. And so that's bad news all around. And so what's important for us is what the trustee board and administration is doing in terms of supporting our businesses. And to wrap up this evening, the harsh realities that are facing our region, our downtown, are also facing small businesses in the outlying communities. And what we were going to talk about tonight is how this community has been pursuing not just CARES grants, but other grants. If it's a grant and it moves, we are on it, to try to bring in for the benefit of our residents and the impacts of the pandemic and our businesses as well. And that we began immediately in April with our first small business stimulus, and here we are in the middle of October continuing to still seek grants and put grants out very quickly to try to support our businesses. And also, on the subject of businesses, one of our other very important businesses to us, the Porsche expansion, continues. It's really interesting to drive by the site every week. It looks something new is happening there. So that is my report.
Okay. Next, we move on to anybody, any questions about her report? Next, we have so much to cover, and we have more opportunities to comment on some of these things. But Little Miami Fire District report.
I can give a quick update there. So it's known that Gulf Manor is exiting the Little Miami at the end of next year, and I know that there are a lot of negotiations going on. But one thing I wanted to mention is that there will be absolutely no disruption in service in the Ridgewood area, which I think is what the Gulf Manor covers, or anywhere else in Columbia Township, Fairfax, anywhere. So I hope the community is assured of that. Some other things are happening as well. Some analysis of response times, for example, both in Mariemont and Columbia Township and Fairfax, response times, as well as looking at mutual aid runs between Mariemont and Columbia Township. So there's a lot of kind of analytics going on to determine the most efficient way to service the community. So I want to get that across too. So that's all I had on the Little Miami update.
Thank you, Brian.
And we're continuing to have discussions with Mariemont on, because I know that's one part of it, and continuing to work through some of those issues with them as well. So that's all moving forward somewhat positively. Then next, Deer Park Silverton District report. I don't know if you would add to that, or?
I can add to that as well. Real quick, one thing I loved about the report was that none of the employees have exhibited any signs or symptoms of COVID. None have had to self-quarantine, so kudos to that department. It's a dangerous line of work, and they're around the community a lot, so the safety procedures they're utilizing are outstanding. They also mentioned they're seeing shortages in PPE and price increases for the supply chain, especially gloves. But they did secure some supplies from Hamilton County at no cost to the district, so that's outstanding. I found this interesting, that they will open and staff a facility to distribute a COVID-19 vaccine when it comes out, which is, the community should know that. And it has a list of sites known as points of dispensing. And so they're getting really ahead of it. The vaccine probably won't be out till early next year, but I love to hear how they're getting ahead of the distribution of it. This gets a little bit medical. They talk about a new 12-lead heart monitor, replacing those that are 10 years old. So that's outstanding. I don't know the science behind that, but when you're replacing things that are 10 years old, and as fast as science moves, that is good news. And then they're working on getting some grants for some firefighters' automated CPR devices. So a lot of good news coming out of Deer Park and Silverton.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Now we move on to trustees' reports. I guess we'll start with Susan.
I don't have a report, but she always thanks the employees and the businesses. I just want to thank her for the good job she's doing.
Oh, thank you.
That's a strong endorsement right there. Really. So, thank you, Susan. Anything to add there?
Thank you.
Well, kudos that. Trying to find money wherever she can for our businesses. She's committed to that, and we are as well. So that's number one. Number two, I attended the walkathon that was mentioned earlier. I live a few houses down from the Good Shepherd School, and I wanted to mention them because they've been really good neighbors to the community for a long period of time. And I found out just a few minutes ago that Miss Hughes went to school there, so she has her heart there as well. But it's, to me, working from home, I hadn't seen the walkathon before, so I got to see that this year, and seeing kids having joy in our sheriff's department helping with the safety, because that is a busy area, it was really a good experience for me to witness that. I thought it was going to be over in the morning. It started at like 8:30 in the morning, but it went all the way till like 2:30 in the afternoon, and the reason was because they changed it up because of coronavirus. So they spread out, each class would do a walkathon to raise money for the school, and normally it just takes a couple hours, but they were out there running around all day long. So they've been good neighbors. I mean, we share the park with them. It's open to the public after school hours. So I wanted to give them a shout out, so good job to them. That's all I have.
Great job, thanks. And the only thing I'll say is, in the spirit of everything else everybody else is saying, there's a lot of things we're doing here proactively to go, help our, businesses thrive, survive, whatever you want to call it in this environment. And some of the ideas you come up with is one thing, but I walked in here, rarely do I come in here since Mike left. I don't know why. Maybe it's you. But I did come in here the other day, and I was just astonished to see our whole team back there, our whole maintenance crew put together heaters. It was like an assembly line, like a manufacturer plant, and thought, these guys are on it,
Santa's
working.
workshop.
Yes. It was impressive, and delivering heaters to everybody within days' notice to make sure that these restaurants have things that make their customer experience safe, user-friendly, outdoor-oriented. And we look, and we'll get to the 50 West guys, we look at your success having this outdoor environment that we want to go try to take some of these other places, and we'll get to this in a minute, have the same thing. So I think everybody's been proactive. John and his crew have been amazing. Watching them, it's a joy to watch. And we'll have some stuff coming out to announce, some of the things we're doing here coming that I know Caroline and Brian are working on, so we get a postcard or mailer that comes out to talk about some of the new events and things we got coming up. And other than that, last but not least, Melissa, you've done an incredible job. Again, the ideas,
Thank you.
John's execution, you finding money and thinking, let's go figure this stuff out. It's been a joy to watch. It's really been a treat, and you've hit the ground running. And be remiss to say we couldn't have done this without Mike Lemon's
Correct.
financial
Yes.
stewardship of this community. We have the ability to match funds, do things, create things, promise things, and then Melissa's been successful thinking, okay, we can do it, but we've also had the ability to have, the county and other people participate to help us go do it, to keep more money in our powder keg that we can continue to do more and just continue to leverage our ability to do things. Because I think a lot of times you apply for these grants, the question is can you really pull this off? And the answer is yes, we can. Where other people maybe have had to go take a knee and bail out because they couldn't match funds and other things. So again, that's a tribute to Mike Lemon, Melissa, the whole team, everybody else. So thank you. And with that, we move on to communications. And I don't know, when do we bring this wonderful, delightful, adorable group in to talk? Would we wait for resolutions, or we bring them in to go make a presentation? Melissa, I guess I wasn't quite sure of that.
We can, if you would like, we can go ahead and either bring him up now and then continue on the agenda, or we can move up the item 450 West to the first resolution.
Why don't we, right before we read the resolutions, we have, I guess, Bobby, you're going to speak?
Yes.
And we'll introduce you guys, and then you kind of present what you're doing, and then we can kind of go
Okay.
through it there. Okay, I just want to make sure we have good transition. Okay, first, any questions about the communications?
No.
Okay.
I just would like to say for people watching at home that we have the 14th largest home builder in the region is headquartered in Columbia Township in the Promenade on Wooster. That is Brookstone Homes. And also, a familiar face was featured in the Gehring Center Family and Private Business Awards, Undeterred, Our Most Resilient Business Leaders. Bobby Slattery was selected. as one leader who is beating the odds during the pandemic, had a really cool section in the Business Courier. So we have Bobby here tonight, so I wanted to share that.
Okay. Any other questions? Then I guess we move on to motions. I guess we'll go and redo this motion, then we'll bring
Yeah.
their
Our
group
group
in.
up. So on the motions, I have a motion that the trustee board will authorize the administrator to enter into a contract with Ascend Personnel Services to hire a temporary seasonal service tech. This is for our peak fall leaf pickup as we prepare to go into winter snow and ice removal. This seasonal temp has actually been a practice of Columbia Township Administration under my predecessor, Mike Lemon. All of the seasons collide in the fall and early winter. As we mentioned earlier, we're still picking up brush, we're still mowing grass, the leaves are falling, we're doing crack sealing on streets, we're still finishing road projects until the first snow. And but what I wanted to do is just bring it to the trustees' attention. Generally, the administrator has authority, or legally the administrator has authority for contracts under $10,000. Depending on the severity of the season, sometimes we may have to keep the service tech temp a couple of extra weeks, which would then bump it up over mine. Instead of bringing that back in, I just thought that I would bring this forward at the very beginning. So if you would support that just by approving the motion.
Okay. I make a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. I'm usually hopeless at this kind of stuff, but it's an honor to get you guys out of 50 West and all of our little fun events down there. But I want to introduce all three of you. First of all, brilliant serial entrepreneurial genius, patriarch of the whole brand of 50 West, Reach Magazine, Shell Gas Station, Growler Stop, everything else. Bob Slattery Sr., always admired him, known him for probably over 30 years, and thank you for coming. It's rare that we get you out of your cave. So, thank you. Then we have the genius, the referee of the operation, Charlie Severe, the guy that I always come to for the voice of reason when I need to get something done. If there's any bickering between me and the rest of the group, Charlie is the guy that is so detailed, perfect, and guys, again, thank you. Everybody hears your names, so they have you now. And then Bobby is the face, the beauty, the spokesperson, and what is he, entrepreneur?
Undeterred entrepreneur.
Undeterred entrepreneur, and funny and lovable Bobby Slattery. So, Bobby, you're going to speak?
Yes, that's correct.
And again, everybody hears about you guys, and everybody thinks you guys are doing an incredible job. So what you guys have done down in Worcester Pike's incredible, and I mean that, and I'm glad you guys are here. So, you go, Bobby, it's your floor.
Got it. Thank you guys for having me. Excited to be here.
One more thing before you go.
Yes.
And by the way, thank you for all the help. The bike trail that's finally through that Brian and I were a part of, Bobby, Bob, and Charlie, I know how much you guys had to do with that too. So it wouldn't have happened without you guys. It
Yeah.
took a long, long time coming.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what we're most excited about, well, first off, thanks for letting me be here today. Thank you for allowing us to be part of this community. I've watched this thing grow over 10 years, and it's a really dynamic team that you guys have operating inside this space. I can say I'm excited to be a part of it. I think one of the most fun things for us down at 50 West was that bike trail and that crosswalk. That was 10 years in the making. And it's funny to watch these people come down to 50 West during a pandemic and look at us and say, did you guys just build all of this for COVID? And you laugh. And we're very fortunate to have all those things. But that was a lot of hard work by a lot of people over a very long time to help put all of those things in place to allow for what we like to think is this very special segment of Columbia Township. It's a special place, the ability for people to be outside. If you see the traffic that we have down there, thank goodness that crosswalk, we got that through just in the nick of time. The amount of people that are not only visiting our place to come down there, but also you see all of the neighbors, specifically in Williams Meadow, utilizing that crosswalk to come across. You see the people biking and the running and all the great things that are happening there. So thank you for that. It's obviously helped our business a ton, but it's also provided an outlet for a lot of people during COVID when they want to be able to get outside, they want to be able to do the limited things that we can do right now. So we really appreciate that. That was a lot of hard work to get us where we are. The other thing to keep in mind with all those things is your hard work in making that happen. Not only did it provide an outlet for people to get exercise and people to have fun, but you saved a lot of jobs. During the pandemic, we were honored to be mentioned by the Gehring Center for that, but that came down to, we had reached a point in the beginning of COVID where we had shut down our business. People had been laid off, and it's something we'd never experienced before. We had lost 70% of our workforce, and the bike trail and the crosswalk, they might seem like, not necessarily equates to jobs right away, but that saved people's jobs. The traffic that generated allowed us to not only bring our staff back, but bring back more than ever. And so that kind of gets to where we are today, and what we're looking at for the future. So we obviously, come wintertime, had the ability to look at our business and say, hey, how do we make it the most profitable for 50 West? And one of those options for us was to go ahead and just say, hey, we're going to go to delivery and people driving up to our business to pick up food. But we looked at our staff that we employ and realized that was going to require us to probably lay off about half those people for the wintertime. And for us, what we realized with COVID was when we fought for our people's jobs, that's when our business thrived and the community thrived, and we really created something special. And so we started looking into what are alternatives for this winter that we could do that'll help save these people's jobs, help continue to make our business relevant. And we started looking around the country for what do people in similar spaces do. And we noticed these ice rinks popping up. So we saw, if you look in all these different communities around the country, people have been utilizing these ice skating rinks as an opportunity to bring people together in the cold, give them things to do, and to help sustain these businesses, and more importantly, the people that we employ. Because if we can drive that traffic in there in the winter, yes, there's a very significant expense in putting that in, but it allows us to keep those people working, continue to give them things to do, and generate revenue that, while it may not be wildly profitable for us to do that, we look at it as an opportunity as it maintains those jobs, it keeps those things going and going from there. So I don't know, I guess, have any of you guys seen the ice skating rinks before or any of those things around the country?
Yeah,
Any examples?
downtown.
Yeah, downtown obviously does it. You're seeing Blue Ash up at Senate Park has done it. And we've done a lot of research on this, and it's a very significant expense. And obviously, from our end, we had such success with the bike trail and the crosswalk, and working with this public-private partnership. This is where we looked at Columbia Township to say, hey, we as small business owners are really willing to take that on, but we see a lot of benefits for the community, and how that could be beneficial during a time to do. And so what we're here to ask for today is a public-private partnership or sponsorship, if you call it, in return, how that would benefit the residents of Columbia Township is we would offer free ice skating. We would create a promo code for all the residents of Columbia Township during this pandemic. They could come down, utilize the rink, and be able to come outside and be excited for the community. So not only would it create an opportunity to save jobs for our people, but also creates an outlet for people during this very difficult time for them to be able to come outside and do things as a family. So obviously, we would continue to help with, the Christmas tree lighting and all of those things. But yeah, for us, it's we're hoping we can continue this. Thank you for all you've done to this point. It's really been, we're very fortunate to be where we are. So.
Well, thank you. And I'll tell you what, as we sit here and listen to you talk and everything, I know we've had meetings, but the interesting question is when you decide to come up with this brilliant idea, my big question is, could you really pull this off this quickly if we were able to do it? And kudos to you guys and your team for coming up with the ideas. But equally, when you said yes, and I think it was probably Charlie's brains that comes into to get into things. But it's really remarkable that you come up with the idea. But equally, we said if we can come back and do something productive here, and then obviously Melissa's work and everything else, that you guys are able to pull this off so quick. Because right now with COVID, it's either now or it may not matter. Or these people could be out of business, these people could be out of jobs. So it is basically saying, if we're going to do this, it has to be now. And again, the ideas and the ability for you guys to react this quickly and say, have answers back in less than a few days, and Melissa to react as busy as she's been. It's been magic to watch you guys bring it this far. I didn't think you could pull it off.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, putting an ice skating rink in a volleyball court in the middle of Columbia Township and create an experience that we can all have all our residents not have to go downtown but can skate for free outside. I think it's remarkable and exciting. And I want to see that scoreboard come up next too, by the way. We're not done with you guys, because I think that could be exciting too. We won't talk about that tonight, but I think it's tremendous what you guys have done, so.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's, I think COVID just kind of taught us, you do it. When I looked at the winter and knowing if we can do everything possible to keep our people employed and do whatever we can possible to create that excitement, and just in such a difficult time where everybody's dealing with job loss or just, the depression of having to stay indoors, whatever we can do to help make that happen. I want to fight, and I want to try to do it. And if we lose money on it, because at least we can look back on it from our standpoint and say, hey, we gave it a try. We tried for it this year, and we did everything we could to keep people going. So thank you.
Yeah.
We're excited to be a part of the community, and we appreciate everything you guys have helped us with.
Well, again, if this passes tonight, then we are going to have the entire community of Columbia Township, the fringe benefit is everybody can come down and skate for free.
Yeah.
I might even come down and do that.
I'm excited to see it.
You know, one other thing I want, but that's all right. Anyway, that said, I'm not going down that road, don't worry. Anyway, no, this is exciting again. The effort you guys have made and what you've done on the Wooster Pike. We hear a lot of compliments. I don't know if you watch some of our meetings from other people. So for what you guys have done, I always call them Lifetime Achievement Awards, because we've never given you guys anything in terms of tax abatements or anything else. So it's delightful to come up with these specific creative projects, and also delightful that we come up with ways to go that we can share it with the community. I mean, to have free skating and do things that make Columbia Township feel a little bit special for a moment, meaning the community's divided up in terms of all these different islands, so this is exciting. So thank you for coming up with the ideas. Thanks for everything. And Bob Senior, you aren't taking enough credit for this, but thanks for doing all the things you do all over the place.
Appreciate it. Very much appreciate the trustees' support, and also, just being there for us with a can-do attitude with whatever we come up with.
We've had a great relationship, so
I'd love to add,
you go.
number one, best burger in town, and y'all have killed.
That's a heck of an endorsement.
I am a burger aficionado. It's the best burger in town, and y'all did an awesome job with kind of the carry-out service over there.
Yeah.
And y'all have been a long time benefit to the community, and as a resident, I really appreciate that. You all are committed to the township and involved in the township. I see you all everywhere, and this is why I wanted to be a trustee, is because working with people like you in the community to make a better place for people. And so I'm happy that you all are here, and I'm happy to be part of this.
And that's a very good point, because when you guys were first opening up, I looked at Bobby and thought, you guys are opening up right here in March or whatever, when COVID was coming. And I remember him calling me, thinking, I'm not sure when we're going to be open, not sure when we're going to get our permits. Then you did your drive-through. You invited free food to parts of the community to see what you can do to get support. But how you guys have leveraged into what you've done has been just pure, ham and egging through it. It's been great. And they come up with this way of keeping it going and humming during the winter, because I keep saying, winter's coming, what are you going to do? And you guys came up with another plan. So kudos to you guys. It's been amazing. And all the things you guys have done for the community, again, as you sit here, it's hard not to go praise you guys, because it's equally as cool as that you've been involved, is that all three of you guys come to those events. That does not go unnoticed. That's really, really cool. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Susan, I don't know if you have anything to add as well, but
I appreciate you being here and the people you bring to Columbia.
Thank you.
I know you bring in a lot of, and if you do the boxing thing again, I love boxing.
Oh.
I would want to come.
They wanna do
I
it.
don't want to box. I don't want to box, but I want to
oh, no, that would be a sight.
I want to come and
Yes,
watch it.
we get a lot of questions about when that's going to happen again. And obviously, we have our hands somewhat tied because of COVID.
Yeah.
What you can, the amount of people that can be within a confined space. But we definitely plan on bringing it back. And yeah, you can be a judge. Yeah, a celebrity judge.
I do watch boxing.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, with that, we move on to the resolutions. I'm going to let Melissa, since you do such a fine job and speak better than me, then I'm going to let you go into the resolutions.
Why don't, since we just heard from our 50 West partners, let's go ahead and skip down to Authorizing a 2020 Economic Development Partnership with 50 West Brewing Company, LLC, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. As Bobby described, this is a $30,000 economic development partnership for the ice skating rink and other activities through the end of 2020, and then the ice skating rink will continue through the end of February, January, February. And this partnership is a combination of CARES Act funds that we have received, as well as our JED-Z. So this is some of Columbia Township's direct funding and some funding that we have secured from grants that we're combining in order to support this. So are there any questions?
Nope.
All right. I have read the title of the resolution as a first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
We've dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second to pass the resolution?
So moved. I'll second then.
I'm gonna give that to, I'm gonna
We're
give that to
saying the same
Susan.
thing.
Susan
Okay.
got in under, all right.
I beat you, David.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
So the resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause, which makes the resolution effective immediately?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The emergency clause is invoked. The resolution is in effect. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Okay. So we move on, then we're going to move back up to the top then, Melissa?
Yes, we will. So move back up to the top under one reading only. So we have 6, 7, 8. Only two are not directly related to COVID-related funding activities. So I'll just start and go down through the list. The first one is one reading only because it is a financial resolution. It is a supplemental appropriation. Recall that our budget each year is fixed and approved by July of the prior year. So we are now working on a budget that was approved in July of 2019. We are now in October 2020. So any unanticipated changes to the budget in terms of monies that we received that were not anticipated or expenses that we make have to be adjusted in the budget for the Hamilton County Auditor through a supplemental appropriation. So the supplemental appropriation before you, 3 of the items are specific to CARES Act grants that we have received on deposit. And one large expense is on our road projects. Whenever we have a partnership with Greater Cincinnati Water Works to replace a water line or even a sewer line as part of a road project, we bid the project, we pay the contractor, and then the contractor, such as Cincinnati Water Works, pays us the funding that we then reimburse our account with. And so one large expense in the supplemental appropriation is for that for Moffett and Ebersole. So this is a one reading only. Do I have any questions before we vote? I've read the title of the resolution. May I have a motion and a second to pass?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
So that resolution is adopted and in effect. All of the following resolutions are emergencies, and that is a requirement due to the compressed schedule for the ones that are related to CARES. The U.S. Treasury has put forth very strict deadlines for legislation authorizing us to apply for or accept grant funding, for us to encumber them for specific uses, and for us to spend them and then fulfill reporting requirements. So that is the reason that all of these are emergency. The first 2 that are not related to CARES, and then everything beyond that are. The first one is annually we enter into our commercial property and liability insurance for our vehicles, for our buildings, and also for liability insurance for staff and for elected officials. So I'm going to read this first resolution, authorizing the 2020-2021 Highland Commercial Property Agreement and payment, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. Any questions on that one? That amount is $17,236. I've read the title of the resolution as the first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call?
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
We have dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second then to pass the resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause to make the resolution effective immediately?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The emergency clause is invoked and the resolution is now in effect. The next non-CARES resolution is an annual budget requirement by the Hamilton County Budget Commission. The Budget Commission looks at our projected levies for the coming year and identifies those to us and asks that we acknowledge receipt and certify to them. I actually requested them early, a trick that, or tip, I should say, Mr. Lemon taught me before the budget, so we would have actual tax rates for our levies. And I also looked at 2019 and between 2019 and 2020, and then the 2021 rates, which are attached, 2.859 million estimated levy revenue in 2021. The difference is only a $20,000 increase. So the Budget Commission for this year is being very conservative in those. So let me make sure that I read the resolution correctly. Accepting the 2021 amounts and rates as determined by the Hamilton County Budget Commission, authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. Do you have any questions? All right. I've read the title of the resolution as the first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call?
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
So we've dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second then to pass the resolution?
So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
So the resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause and make the resolution effective immediately?
Yes. So moved.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
That was a Mork and Mindy moment, right? The emergency clause is invoked and the resolution is now in effect. The next resolution, this begins our CARES, allows us to accept more money from Hamilton County Community Development Block Grant Program for a grant that we applied for and received and you approved in September for $50,000 to build outdoor dining capacity at our restaurants, specifically Mariemont Promenade, 4 restaurants there. As we began to get into that grant, we realized that there was a greater need than the 4 restaurants in Mariemont Promenade. We circled back to the county and asked, because there weren't a lot of communities that had the ability to provide a match for this grant, and so some of the grant funds were going unused, and so we asked if we could increase the grant amount, actually double it, and they came back and approved it. It went all the way to the county administrator's office.
That's wonderful.
So our $50,000 grant is now $100,000, and we are going to be able to do permanent outdoor dining at Mariemont Promenade, as well as what David mentioned earlier. We're able to, for all of our other eligible restaurants, provide outdoor patio sets if they don't already have them, and or top hat propane heaters. So before we move forward with that, that was a fantastic move by the county for us. Do you have anything that you want to?
Yeah, I would say to just explain this in the kind of layman's terms, we kind of looked at the Mariemont Promenade and some of those indoor dining, new restaurants like El Patron and Jersey Mike's, Magic Walk, and Mango Tree, who's got a nice, really steady carryout business, and thought, how do we kind of get these guys outdoors, looking at what you guys are doing down at 50 West, as well as you guys have been doing with the outdoor. And so Melissa and I kind of approached them, because the conundrum you have is it's hard for these restaurants to pay more rent when they're struggling, and it's hard for the developer to invest more money in restaurants when they're maybe not, they're hoping to get their rent checks. So you kind of have to manage upside down, and thought, how do we make this a better experience, help our businesses survive, and help our residents have a safe, socially distant, better experience at the center. And we think that just when you go there, there's a bit of a vision where instead of going and just driving by and seeing nothing, you see a little bit of ambiance with lights out there. Maybe you go get a margarita at El Patron and build a little more excitement. So when you drive by, you want to go in there and add some excitement to the center. So we think it's going to make the center a better experience for the long term and even the short term. And again, this is one of those things where if you're going to do it, you got to do it now. So we're in a plan here to go expand out in the parking lot, put outdoor dining, using dome heaters, buying them dining tables, all built, well, most of the stuff's all built by John Cervisi and his team, deliver them there, and temporarily put a temporary fence up and let them go enjoy it now in the fall while we get permits. And I know the Slattery's and Mr. Severe, we don't know, getting permits from Hamilton County. We'll wait on that, maybe not do the full construction for the permanent structures. Maybe not even until the spring it may not come out, but right now the idea is these guys need outdoor dining now, and that's what it's going to instill. When we reached out to the developer, and they were thrilled to death. Melissa's met with the tenants,
Yes.
and they've all just jumped up and down and thought, hallelujah, this is exactly what we need. So this is a really good example of, people are shocked that local government get involved to kind of go do these things. And Melissa, if it wasn't for you getting these grants, every time you come up with an idea, it happens. So it's magic to watch, magic to see the reaction of the developers, magic to see the reaction of the restaurants. And I know a lot of people shake their heads and think, I can't believe that the local government is getting involved with some of these things. So, but I think it's a great example of what we can do to go help our businesses thrive while everybody else doesn't quite know what to do or how to do it. So Mariemont Promenade's coming up with a temporary expansion out into the parking lot of outdoor dining, patio seats, heaters. It's going to really change the experience there, and long-term and even into the spring, it's going to be a permanent structure. So that's what this is about. I didn't mean to go too far with this, but that's what it's going to be. And then we're going to go create a piece with you guys that's going to announce all these things and all the different experiences, from the ice skating to all these things that will be coming out independent of the newsletter that just went out, because there's just so many things to talk about. We want to go tell the community where to come in the fall and see all these things and enjoy all these experiences. So that said, let's go on, and we're approving the resolution.
Great stuff. So,
Can I add to that really quick?
sorry.
No, I'm sorry about
Sorry.
that.
No, it's okay.
I'm glad you did that.
I appreciate the aggressiveness of especially you and Mr. Kubicki, because we're beating other communities to this grant money, and it's like Bobby was saying earlier, this is going to save jobs for the community, and not only that, it's going to make a better experience for the residents of the community. I know that one day you dropped off some heat lamps, and I went to the same business a couple hours later, and people were using them. So like immediately getting immediate use out of them, and then also I know that there's a back order on these heat lamps. We have them, we got them to our businesses, and other businesses don't have them. So like the aggressiveness around this is really helping everyone. So thank you both.
And thanks for everybody reacting quickly.
Yeah. Now we can read them.
No, go ahead. I love you adding in.
thank you. I appreciate the ideas that come from the board. I'm the implementer.
You're more than that, but go
I'm
ahead.
I always say I'm the money man.
Okay.
All right, amending Resolution 2036, which was the resolution last month, 2020, accepting Hamilton County Community Development Block Grant coronavirus funds for restaurant, outdoor, outside dining dedicated areas, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. So you have heard my first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
We have dispensed with the second reading. May I have
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The emergency clause is invoked and the resolution is now in effect. The next resolution, also CARES, is of the CARES Act that I mentioned. Some grants are direct deposit, some are on a reimbursement, and Hamilton County just opened a reimbursement CARES program separate from the others that I've mentioned earlier. This one is for $63,344, which is based on the local government fund. They are awarding this grant to all of the communities in Hamilton County based on the local government fund formula. And this resolution authorizes us to participate in the program. You authorize me to enter into an agreement with the county to spend funds, request reimbursement, and complete reporting. And Brian Lamar has looked at the resolution as well. So I will read the title: Authorizing Columbia Township to participate in Hamilton County's CARES Act Community Assistance Grant Program, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. Any questions? All right, I have conducted the first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
We've dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second to pass the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The emergency clause is invoked and the resolution is now in effect. If I were not sports illiterate, I would be able to say we are in the 7th or 6th inning. All right, 1, 2, 3 to go.
Did we miss one?
Oh,
No, never mind.
okay. The next one is, as part of our continued business stimulus, we have a relationship with the Community Improvement Corporation of Greater Cincinnati. By township law, we are entitled to spend funds directly with businesses and with other vendors under some circumstances, and others must be routed through a Community Improvement Corporation. So this provides additional funds, again, from CARES to the Community Improvement Corporation to continue our business stimulus efforts. Authorizing financial assistance to the Community Improvement Corporation of Greater Cincinnati under ORC 505701 to defray expenses related to Columbia Township CARES Act projects, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. And this amount will be $60,000, and we will have more of these over the coming months as we continue to advance through these different grants, depending on whether they can be a direct payment or must go through the CIC. Do I have any questions? All right. I've read the title of the resolution as a first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
So we have dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second to pass the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
So the resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The emergency clause is invoked and the resolution is now in effect. Thank you. The final two are actions under, again, CARES Act for grants that are reimbursement and are not directly deposited in our account. So, for example, Ohio dispersed CARES Act funds as direct disbursements into the account. And we bring before you resolutions or supplemental appropriations to accept those deposits because they are different than what we anticipated in the last budget cycle. For the Hamilton County CARES Act, and the CDBG grant, the 100,000 that we just discussed. So we've discussed these two grants previously. We've enabled us to move forward with them. These final two resolutions, because the funds are reimbursement, authorize us to pull an amount equivalent to each grant. In one case, 100,000, in the other case, $63,344 from our reserves temporarily as an advance. And then when we complete the expenses, we submit for reimbursement. The county will reimburse us for the funding, and we will put the funding back into our account and then put it back into our reserves. We're required to go through this as a part of the Ohio Township law and also the paper trail for the grants. So the first one is for the Hamilton County Community Assistance Program, and the next one is for the 100,000 Community Development Block Grant Program. So I'm going to read each, and then we'll just move through those. To advance $63,344 from the General Fund 1,000 to Special Fund CARES, Hamilton County Special Fund 2902, for eligible CARES Act expenses to be reimbursed under the Community Assistance Program, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. I've read the title of the resolution. As a first reading, may I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
Ms. Hughes moves.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
We've dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second to pass the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The emergency clause is invoked, and the resolution is now in effect. All right, we are at the goal line.
Switch sports on us.
Yes, I'm learning. To advance $100,000 from the General Fund 1,000 to Community Development Block Grant COVID Special Fund 2903 for eligible CARES Act expenses to be reimbursed under the Hamilton County Community Development Block Grant COVID Grant Program, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. You've heard the first reading. May I have a motion and a second to dispense with the second reading?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
We have dispensed with the second reading. May I have a motion and a second to pass the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. May I have a motion and a second to invoke the emergency clause?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr.
Yep.
Kubicki? Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Okay.
The emergency clause is invoked, and the last resolution is now in effect.
Good.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the payment of bills, bank reconciliation, and financial reports. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Announcements. Any announcements that you guys need to make?
Well, we got Halloween coming up. Do they know the hours?
It's in the newsletter. I
Back
think.
page of the Voice, I believe 6 to 8 p.m., Saturday, October 31st. It's on our website also.
Okay. And other than that, the only thing I would add is, again, we're going to have a mailer coming out, talk about a lot of these things that, since we had to go get them approved, we have to come after the newsletter and talk about the skating, talk about some other things. And the other thing that we didn't mention here is that we're doing a sponsorship with Carriage House Car
Yes.
Wash. They made a huge investment down there. It's a great experience. In addition to just buying the car wash, they went in and put some real money in. They're not just seeing what they can do. It's a great experience, and they came up with a concept similar to what you guys do, where they're having people from, help me out, what's the
Fine Arts Fund, the Greater Cincinnati Fine Arts
They're
Fund, which
supplying
is called Arts Wave.
Arts Wave, and they're
Yes.
bringing in actors and actresses to put on Halloween costumes.
Family friendly.
Family friendly, and they're gonna do, the people that did Blink Cincinnati, to light up the car wash, light up the parking lot, light up the interior of it, and come
Light up
in,
the soap.
light up soap, and for $20, you get a car wash, a gourmet car wash, which I guess is worth probably $15. Plus, they're gonna hand out some UDF ice cream and some other goodies and other things that other people in the community might participate in as well. and we sponsored that, so we will be the feature sponsor. They've never asked us for anything. We're going to sponsor that, but it's also their whole idea was to take these kids that can't go out for Halloween, or their parents don't want them, or whatever it is, that just make a choice that they can't, that here's a nice little way to give them a treat and give them an experience that they couldn't otherwise have, to go have a treat for Halloween. And in addition to that, in our part of our mailer, the first 100 people that reach out, you're going to create an email address for us?
Yes.
Okay, Brian's going to create an email address that you come back, and we're going to start collecting some email, but first 100 people get a free car wash and Halloween experience and UDF ice cream and all those things from Columbia Township. But another way, again, with this COVID stuff, to get people out to do things that are socially distanced, safe, and family-friendly. That's kind of the goal, and keep these businesses thriving and keep them promoted. And I'm sure when we talk to you guys, if there's a way to cross-promote what they're trying to do, and they're giving some money to charity as well. Melissa, do you know more about the charity they're doing?
The Fine Arts Fund, the Arts Wave is any proceeds, net proceeds from the event are going all to the Arts Wave, Greater Cincinnati.
And if you can imagine the expense and investment that they're making, similar to your skating rink, what they're making to go do this is not inconsequential, let alone the emotional capital it takes to create these things. So we jumped at the idea that, obviously we'll participate and try to give something back to the community as well with some free tickets and a great experience. So all good things. I mean, it was a lot of good news, and Melissa, again, and to Mike Lemon. I can't help but to say, Mike, you're watching, cheers. All these
Yes.
things are possible because we have just such a fiscally, financially stable
Yes.
community through a lot of the fiscal responsibility that Mike's practiced over the years. So
We have a house of brick
Yes.
instead of a house of straw.
yeah, so we're doing well in all this, and we're going to continue to come up with great ways to make this community better and better now that we all have this. So, anything else anybody want to add to the announcements?
I'm just proud to be part of this, and we're doing things others can't, and it's because we got our act together.
It's amazing how much grant money we just approved in the past half hour.
Yes,
It's a lot of money for the community, so thank you.
yes.
More to come.
So thank you. And again, Melissa is working so hard. I'm afraid to ask her to do anything. That's why I barely walk in here, I barely call, whatever. I just, we send smoke signals to each other every now and again. So thank you for all the things you're hitting the ground running. And again, John and his team, everybody has done, and the two trustees, fiscal officer, for everybody chipping in wherever
Kim.
they can, and being obviously Kim as well, yes. Chipping in to get these things done quickly, because if we don't do them now, they're not going to get done. And again, the skating rink is a brilliant thing. I mean, it was a month ago. You guys said, what do you think? I was like, can you pull this off? And then we pulled it off. So to come together and do all these things takes an incredible efforts. So thank you. All right, that said, finally, we signing off the minutes and of resolutions. Make a motion, we sign the minutes and resolutions. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
And I make a motion that we adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Lamar?
Yes.
Mr. Kubicki?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sign resolutions before you leave.
Because they're all emergency, in order for me to do anything starting tomorrow.